Hi, Persida. It's nice to meet you, and thank you very much for joining me. How are you?
Hi, Joseph. Thank you very much. How are you? Thank you very much for inviting me on your podcast. Well, thank you. Fine,
I'm
thank
doing well.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Um,
okay.
and thank you so much for joining me and for being here, Persida.
Thank you very much. You're very kind for inviting me, and I hope it helps. I hope it helps. I
Um,
hope my experience helps.
Before we jump in, Persida, can you tell me a bit about yourself and how you discovered Carnivore? How did it all start for you?
Well, your channel is a Hungry Mind Journey. Well, my carnivore, my Hungry Mind journey started in the opposite way. I mean, I didn't know that the carnivore existed. I always underline in English, carnivore actually means animal products, animal nutrition, right? Well, in Italian, since I live in Italy, carnivoro, that is from carne, which is meat. So when you say somebody's carnivore, it means he eats meat, right? And there is, for example, pescivoro, that eats pieces, fish, right? That's big difference. And when I discovered the word carnivore, I had to understand the concept of carnivore. Actually, it's the whole concept, and I didn't know about it at the time when I actually started, because my journey was the opposite, because I didn't inform myself before starting it. I simply started. If I may, I would like just to contextualize to I hope it's not too much boring, but I have to describe a little bit context before starting it. Actually, I grew up carnivore because my father insisted on it. I always liked it. I think every child likes meat. There is no problem with it. I didn't like, for example, fruit. I never wanted to eat. And my mother was terrified because you know that an apple a day keeps doctor away. You know, it's always the same thing. But I didn't like apples. Nothing. Maybe only cherries, and that means the fruit only once a year. And then I grew up, everything was okay. I mean, I never had problems. And actually, my mother, when I grew up, told me, well, yeah, you always wanted to eat just meat, but you didn't create problems. She realized that. But then everything was okay till the 90s. And then in the meanwhile, I got married, and with my husband, he has a gym. And we always trained. I was always into sport. I was athletic. I was into swimming, track and field, and so on. And then in the 90s, the myth began, because especially the gym community, there was a spread myth that you have to eat chicken breast and rice. All that chicken. I don't like chicken breast. I mean, I like chicken. I like legs and wings, but don't chicken breast. And then I had to eat that chicken breast because of getting more muscular. That's what I thought, more athletic, right? And that rice, which I do not like, right? But anyway, actually nothing happened. Nothing particular happened. I didn't see anything. I didn't see a big difference. I saw two things changing in myself on my body. That was that I once in a while I started catching cold, and which I never had a cold before. And then I thought, well, we are on the seaside, maybe the weather is wet, maybe the weather is changing, the climate is changing or something like that, right? And the other thing was that once in a while I started gaining weight. But then I thought, well, okay, I'm getting old, that's more normal. And while before, I only needed just a couple of days to get in shape if I want to go to the beach. This time every time it was getting harder and harder. But anyway, I always had an external explanation for it. Well, I'm getting old or something. Probably it was, I think that the cause was in aging, right? And then when I was 44, I'm 61 now. But when I was 44 or 45, I don't remember exactly, I had a surgery, my only surgery. Then I had 6 fibroids. And I was really terrified. I never thought about that fibromes, but I was told, well, I was aging. I mean, I was told that my uterus was aging and I was aging, and that's normal when I was 45, right? Okay. And I was told that the fibrom could come back. Okay. And then fast forward, I started eating. Anyway, I always worked out. I mean, although sport means 15 or 20% in your shape, in your metabolic health, that 20% is a lot, really, because first of all, it's a sort of trick. You notice nothing. For example, in glucose, it's always low. Actually, it's not high. And I didn't have any blood, all blood analysis were not problematic. They were always in the range, right? Because you are training, you are working out, and it helps a lot, right? But it's a trick, actually, because it's a sort of illusion that if it goes further, it will create problems. And then my parents-in-law started having dementia both. And my husband and I wanted to dedicate ourselves to them. It was something like 8 or 9 years we dedicated each other to them. It was very, very hard because they needed our help 24 hours a day, if not 25 hours a day. And then we started eating whatever. It is true that I always insisting on eating protein. We both did, because actually we always worked out. We knew the importance of protein, but at that time we didn't mention fat, just protein, right? Just like it was the gym meat, right? But anyway, any cracker, any yogurt or whatever, which I actually don't like, I started eating because it was so ready. It was so comfortable to have it, and I didn't want to think about it. We were thinking about our parents. And parents, actually my parents-in-law, his parents. And then in the April of 2021, one night I woke up, and I never wake up. I mean, I sleep like, I don't know. I sleep perfect. I always did. I mean, it could be an earthquake. I don't care. I mean, I sleep and that's all. But I woke up 2 times that night because I was suffocating. I was choking. I didn't know why. And I was so afraid. So I asked my husband, I don't know what to do. I'm afraid to get asleep again the 3rd time because probably I won't wake up. And he told me, how many times I told you to change your diet? Because he always insisted. Because in the meanwhile, when I got fat, I thought that I got fat because I was aging, but he wasn't getting fat. So, but I realized that my body stopped. And although I worked out and I ride a bicycle a lot, for example, I go to work only by bicycle, my body stopped. I realized that whatever I do, it just stopped. At that time, I didn't know about insulin. I was, and I still am so ignorant because I didn't know that what happened in my body. And yet it was all the time in front of my eyes. I was conscious about nutrition. I know the importance of nutrition, but I simply didn't see clear and didn't want to see clear. For example, before the 2021, when my husband once in a while talked about ketosis, I didn't want to listen to that words. I mean, I just didn't want it. I didn't just because I was thinking about if I need to get to shape, I need to to start running, to start dieting, to start to reduce the volume. And I didn't want to get into that situation again, because every time when I was for a competition, I had to do it. So I didn't want it anymore because I realized this time it would be much, much harder. So I just didn't want it. But that night he insisted, he said, you should change your diet. I said, okay, what am I supposed to eat? I didn't ask, what can I now? I asked him what I am allowed to eat. And he told me, just eat meat. What meat? Beef, and he told me sheep. And here in Italy, here we are in Abruzzo, in central Italy, we have a lot of sheep. So the next morning, I went and bought a lot of meat, and I cooked it. I put it in the fridge. And that morning, I threw everything that was carb outside. I mean, he didn't want it. And he was a little bit disappointed. I mean, he was sorry because it's a food, you know. And he told me, well, it's a food. It's not correct to throw the food. Well, it's not food if I feel myself in that way. So maybe the ants or the insects will eat it. I don't know. I don't care. But it's not food for us. That's what I told him. And I wouldn't give it even to Hitler. I wouldn't give that food. So I don't want it. And I knew that I had to be far from the cause of my addiction, because I knew I had addiction. And my addiction was chocolate addiction. It was not pasta or pizza, no problem. My addiction was chocolate. Years later, I realized how that addiction was big, that in every bag, in every purse, I had a chocolate in case something happens, in case I feel the need for it. But I was angry with myself because more than once I told to myself, I told to my husband, what if I were in a wood and there is no factory, no shop, no supermarket, and I cannot find that chocolate, so I'm going to die? What happens in that case? I was really angry with myself because I'm not addicted to anything else. I mean, I don't drink, don't smoke, don't do drugs, anything. It was just chocolate, a piece of chocolate, and every time after every lunch, a piece of chocolate to get the life more sweet, not just sweeter. I mean, life should be sweet, right? And I was angry with myself because that was so stupid, really. But I couldn't do anything against it at that point. I didn't have the key, although all the time it was in front of me. I didn't have the key, but that morning, I just started eating meat and fat, actually, because it was fatty meat, right? After exactly 3 days, exactly after 72 hours that I didn't know about that rhythm, that body rhythm, about it, after exactly 72 hours, I told to my husband, wait a minute, something happened in my head. And he said, how do you mean? Well, I know I cut it. I don't want to eat all those things, all those carbs anymore. He said, how do you mean that? I know something happened in my head. Then what happened very, very fast? After 3 weeks, I mean, I didn't started noticing things because I was busy at that time. For me, it was important that I didn't want the chocolate anymore. The point wasn't to get to lose weight. Because I said, okay, never mind. For me, it's important not to get the addiction. Never mind. Because I need to explain something. I'm tall. And even if I get fat, people say, well, you are tall. You can wear all those fat. Right? Well, it's not like that. I feel myself heavy when it's normal. But, the people always find excuses for that. But I didn't. I felt that it was my biological and moral shame to get in that no shape. Actually, it was not human to myself, as I can see myself, my body. And I didn't notice anything except that after 3 weeks, so it was very fast. After 3 weeks, my husband told me, last night you slept, you were fat. This morning you are not fat anymore. How come? He was very surprised. And I was surprised also. But then I started noting other things. I said, wait a minute. It's been years that I couldn't stand up from the bed or to stand up from the chair without having joint pain in knees or whatever. Then I had the shoulder pain because, and I thought that it was because of the bicycle, because maybe I ride that bicycle too narrow. I always try to find some explanation for it. Then I couldn't sleep on one side and on the other side because I had shoulder pain. Then I had ankle pain. Then I had something on my skin. I mean, suddenly my skin started having acne. And I thought that it was because of the shirt, for example, because of the wear, because of the clothes. Then another thing, what I noticed in that 3 weeks, it was very fast. It was the mucus in nose and in my ears. In 2018, I had a severe inflammation that left me heart deaf on the right ear. And since I'm doing diving, free diving, I thought that it was because of free diving. And the doctor said, well, no, it's the form of your skull that makes that thing. I said, oh, yeah, what kind of form? Well, I told him, wait a minute, I always had that form of skull. I mean, that's the shape of my skull. So how can something happens now and not before? Well, no, because you're aging and that shape of the skull. That was not the explanation. Then, anyway, I had to undergo the therapy, the inhalation for mucus, but it destroyed my summer, it destroyed my diving. And in the morning, I had to throw all that mucus. Just the way when I lay down, it went to my ear. I mean, it's all the same mucus. And I had polyps in my ear, in my nose. I saw it in the mirror. But then it just disappeared. Suddenly it disappeared. I didn't have any problem breathing anymore. So I could sleep normally and it was perfect. And so I made a list of things that I noticed step by step. So it was the joint pain. It was the weight. Of course, I lost something like 35 kilos. I came back when I was just the way when I was much younger. And there was another thing. So in 2029, at the end of that year, and the end of November, I think, I went to, I had to have a mammogram because here the municipality makes that screening, like a prevention, right? And so I had to check it out, right? Because they couldn't do it on 2020 because of COVID. So I had, I went 2021, and I must underline that it was after my first, let's say 3 days, 72 hours fasting, which I find it very satisfactory. I arrived at 72 hours fasting very slowly, actually, gradually. I didn't force anything, but then I said, okay, let's see how it goes. And I was very satisfied. And then I had that mammogram. They called me after 3 days, and I thought really that I was so scared. I thought that was something really bad, that it was cancer. And I thought to myself, okay, I'll let them cut everything. I don't want it. I mean, I was so terrified. And then they told me they had to do another mammogram, three mammograms to check out. So I couldn't believe it. And then the doctor said, you can stay calm, don't worry, because it's negative just like the last time. But this time, your cells, your mammal cells regenerated. I don't know how it is possible. I would like to do more research about it. But she asked me if I had a therapy, hormonal therapy. I said, no, I never had a hormonal therapy, no therapy, just for that nose, but it's not hormonal. And then I just mentioned, could it be the nutrition? I changed the nutrition. She said, maybe, I don't know, I would like to do research. I didn't come back, but I was so satisfied because deep inside I knew that the change of the nutrition, because then from that April, I started only after that 3 weeks, I started reading and following many YouTube videos and discovering metabolism. I realized that things change, and it could be the regeneration of cells, even though at that time I thought only peripheral cells, like, for example, nails or hair or something like that. But then I realized probably the whole body changes because the system of your immunity changes. I don't know. So I was impressed. For me, it was something like I won that. I won. The first win was just when I cut the addiction. I said, "Oh, I am free of the addiction." So I won. For me, it's okay. I wasn't thinking about losing weight. Then I lost weight. Okay, perfect. Then when she told me about that mammogram, I was impressed. 2022, quindi the year after, I had to have a pap test, and I've already told you that I had fibrom surgery when I was 45, right? Because I was told that I was aging. This time I had pap test, and just the same that the doctor told me when she saw the mammogram, when she saw the mammo test, when she told me that my mammal cells in the breast regenerated, and that I had 16 years old cells, although I was 56 at that time, right? Then, when I was 57 in 2022, I was told that my uterus is just like 16 years old. And yet, when I was 45, I was told that I was aging and that my uterus, just like every woman's uterus, is just like a tree. When it's getting old, it's cracking, right? That was the description, right? And I was convinced about it. That's the problem. Then I was realizing that every piece was getting into the puzzle perfectly. It was just so spontaneous. It was perfect. I didn't push anything except eating that I wanted. I finally wanted to eat like the way I was born, because then I felt I came back home. I came back in me. I came back to basics. It was just back to me, back to basics, back to the moment when I was born. I felt like something ancestral and something that I was connected with the generations and generations and thousands of years before. And everything was falling into pieces perfectly, and it is so. So, what are the other changes that I noticed? For example, body odor. I don't know. I cannot imagine if I stink or not, but I see the difference. I can smell it. So I asked my husband. For example, I can mention my husband example. He had his feet always wet and stinky. I couldn't stand it, really. Now it's normal. It's dry without odor. It's perfect. For example, he had spider veins, although he's athletic. So, when people say, well, spider veins is because of if you don't move, there is no movement and circulation. Well, he was always in the movement. He was always very athletic, and yet he had a lot of spider veins. His legs were from knees to feet were blue. Now they came back normal without that spider veins. It's only maybe 20% left. So we are very satisfied because of it. And then I had to say something about, if I may, I want to say something about working out. I noticed that a lot of people, actually, some people ask about how about working out? Does your workout change with the nutrition? Yes, of course, and it changed better. Because I don't have up and downs in workout. I don't have up and downs during the day. When I wake up till the evening, when I go to sleep, it's always the same energy for me. And the recovery is perfect, almost immediate. I notice it when I ride a bike. I notice it when I work out in the gym. I don't feel such a muscle pain. I don't feel soreness. I don't feel I don't feel tired. For example, before, when I come back with the bicycle, I had to sit down a little bit because I felt a little bit out. No, it's just like nothing happened. It just like didn't go out with the bicycle. It's normal. It's everything is normal. Then there was another thing. Maybe 10 years ago, a headache started, right? And just as I had in every purse and every bag, I had a piece of chocolate. I had, I don't know, that's sort of medicine. I don't know, they call it Aulin for the headache, right? It's just a little bit bag for the headache. And I had to have it because I couldn't stand that headache. From April 2021, no headaches anymore, which I found it release, but it's fantastic. And then that constant energy means for me that I really got calm, which I like it very much. I've been nervous a lot for a great period of my life, but now I feel much more calm. I'm very, very satisfied because of it. And I really things that maybe could disturb me before, I really don't care anymore. For example, my colleagues or my friends say, well, it seems like you don't care. I cannot tell them, oh, I wish you would know, you would know that I really do not care anymore for those things. And then I start people around me and in the gym, because those people that come to my husband's gym and my friends, they notice the difference, of course, not just the loss of weight, but all other things. And then I started talking about it. I started explaining. Of course, at the beginning, they thought that I was mad or that I was talking, I don't know what. But then some of them that tried, they had a great results. Everyone resolved that problems that they had. I mean, if it's high blood pressure or even the gums, for example, usually they say that the gums are irreversible, right? Well, it's not. You can resolve it. Or diverticulitis or various problems, right? Or weight, for example, the loss of weight. So I think that in gym we have something like 35 people that resolve problems, that wanted to change their diet and resolved. And then now I don't think they find it so unusual, because now since we always talk about it, and now we laugh. We were at the beginning, they laughed at the other, laughed at us. Now we are laughing. Because you know why we are laughing, because here, at least here, there is that myth that you should live balanced, everything a little bit, just to ensure that you eat everything. So this should be balanced according to that myth. That you should eat Mediterranean diet. I don't know what's that Mediterranean diet. It's a construct. There isn't Baltic diet or Swedish diet or Mediterranean diet. What's an absurd, but okay. So that's a myth. The other thing is you should drink milk because of your bones, right? Then you should take carbs, particular the old grain carbs, right? Sort of things. And you need sugar for your brain. Well, that's so. If it is, I always say, so if it is so, I'm dead for. It's been a long time that I'm dead. Well, how come I'm not eating sugar? It's been since April 2021. No sugar, no carbs. So I don't want to hear about carbs. I don't want to hear about seed oils. I don't like. I never liked. I don't like, for example, even olive oil. So we started. We found some farmers, and we once in a while we buy beef and sheep, and then they give us beef fat and sheep fat, right? And we make our fat and we make our cracklings. We cut our piece of meat, and people usually say, "Oh, isn't it boring?" How come boring? It's just, for example, you have a lion or tiger and say, "Oh, wait a minute, is it boring to eat gazelle or zebra all the time?" That's absurd. Oh, and the lion says, "Oh, no, that's boring, really." Oh, and I say, "Well, how come it's not boring for you to eat all those Nestle or I don't know what else, Bounty or Mars or whatever?" That's actually, it's all the same. And I don't even call it sugar. I call it pure plastic. That's all. That's all.
Wow, Persida, your journey is quite amazing. And, you switching to carnivore and with all those changes, it's just, it's something really beyond amazing for me. I wrote down I wrote some down here, like, the joint pain, because of the weight loss, the sleeping, the mucus that like causing ear issues, and then you pretty much like put the puzzle together. I like how that like all pretty much like turn around, like after now, you understand everything now, like most of us carnivore. That's really awesome. Yeah.
Yes, and I would like to point out that I once in a while I find YouTube videos. Something like my cheat day on carnivore, for example, what do I eat on my cheat day? I always underline there is no cheating, not because I'm coherent, not because I'm I don't know, the perfect person. It's just that I cannot cheat on myself. It would be such a stupid thing. I don't know, why should I cheat on myself? I mean, carbs and seed oils are extremely disruptive. So why should I cheat? Do I not like meat? I adore meat. So I do not compare. And if for me cheating means that I eat probably at least a double portion of carnivore, a double portion of it, but actually I eat whenever I want or whatever the quantity. I do not think about volume. I know now that it depends if I'm hungry or more or less in that moment. Okay. The point is, what do I eat? And I don't think about cheating. I wanted to tempt myself. I tempted myself even visually or with other, or I don't know, for example, when I see the chocolate, whatever I ate before, right? And I see, well, now I cannot do it simply because I think that something chemically, biochemically in my brain changed, that I for me, it's just like, for example, if you show the computer to an animal, that animal doesn't know what it is. And that's the same. I don't know. For me, it's just like plastic. And I really consider all that things like all those industrial products with that code bar and with that ingredients, all those industrial products, and see those, I consider it just like plastic to me. I don't see the difference because it is sold like food. I mean, they sell it like food, and I understand. Even if I were an industrial, if I were an entrepreneur, I would like to sell it also. For example, I mean, it's just like a dealer or a pusher. So if a dealer passes in front of my house, if I invite him inside my house, it's my fault. It's not dealer's fault. Of course, he wants to sell the drugs, and that's the same thing. If I want to buy that things, it depends on myself, not on the marketing. On myself depends if I bite that, if I bite it. And I really think that we should simply think. I mean, the reference point should be, what if we were in the nature? Because all those supermarkets, all those industrial products are so recent. I mean, it just happened recently. And people are really changing their health conditions very fast, actually, because it's so disruptive and destroying. But it's not easy. It's not easy because we do not have the same means like big industries that have that marketing, of course. But there is a tam-tam. I mean, if you convince 2-3 persons, the other convince the other. I know that from 10 persons, you can convince, you can explain, and only 1 or 2 could understand. It's normal. It's mathematics, for example. In 100 of pupils, you have only 5 you can count on. If you can count on the others, okay, they are welcome. But you can be sure that you cannot count on everybody. But the small groups will be able to explain to the others. And that's what's happening. It's a web. It's a network, actually, and at that time, that tam-tam could be really fast, much faster usually than the marketing, usually.
Yeah, absolutely. Also well said. Persida, I think I just wanted to highlight back. I know you mentioned about the when your friends when you're around friends and they mention about, do you care about these things anymore? Like, take carbs because it's essential, or maybe like drink milk for for your bones. We don't care about this anymore, right? Because it's irrelevant. It's not really helping the body like the way the meat does it for us. So, I feel like because you mentioned also like chocolate, like we don't have that emotional connection anymore, like after switching to this to this diet, to this lifestyle. So I really
if I may, for example, when they ask my husband and me, because he's much more into it, because he always was interested in metabolism. I wasn't interested in nutrition, metabolism, and all those things, but he was. And they always ask us, well, how do you mean? How do you eat? For example, I always say I eat, since they ask carnivore, and that's the problem with that. At the beginning, they could not understand carnivore and carnivore in Italian. So I explain I eat meat, fish, eggs, and fat. And they ask, how do you mean that? Oh. I said, wait a minute. If I say, for example, I eat Bounty Mars or Oreo, you understand what I'm talking, okay? or Magnum. But if I say eat meat, fish, fat, and eggs, you don't know what I'm talking about. Then, since they do not understand what I'm talking, then I always organize a lunch. I make lunch, and then I invite people once in a while, and they see for the first time that they can eat without bread, without fruit, and so on. But then when I mention that I eat organs, and I eat organs as much as that animal has organs. I don't buy more organs than that is. For example, if I buy a cow, right, or a sheep, I eat that organs that are in a cow and a sheep. So I cannot eat more than that, right? So it's in proportion for that animal. And when I say I eat everything, it is called, technically, the term from vets is the fifth fourth. So the cow is 4/4, right? So this is the fifth fourth, for example, the head, the internal organs, the feet, or the tail, for example, right? Or testes. So when I explain that I eat organs, how do you mean that? They're so impressed, and they want to see. And I usually, when I invite them to lunch, I make organs, and in any case, I just want to reassure them, don't worry. If you don't like it, I'll make a steak or a mince meat, whatever, or eggs for you if you don't like it. Just try it. If you don't like it, don't worry. But I always like it because it's good, right? It's always. And I do not insist on eating raw because I've been eating raw much more. It's been a couple of years that I'm eating raw. It was so spontaneous. Suddenly I woke up, I said, wait a minute, let me try raw, because I was interested in it. I wanted to try it, and I like it very much. I must admit that I like eating raw, and I like aging raw steaks, raw meat. So I leave it aging for example, a month, and it's perfect. It's just like a ham, for example. And I don't insist on making the meat raw. But then the first time I invite them so they can try eating organs. Then the next time I start with raw meat, and they start because they see me. I mean, when they see me, I said, okay, just watch me now. And if I die at this moment in this place, you see that's not okay, but you'll see. So just try it, and then they try it. I think they start having courage, and I think they change their internal courage, just like person. It has influence on their character. I think it's different. I mean, they start getting more mature. All those guys and girls, they start getting more mature, even though they're, for example, most of them are young. But then I always say, well, mature man, I always insist, eats organs, like any tribe, like any animal. I mean, if you see lions or tigers, they start eating organs and then other things. It's so normal. So and I always say, eat like a tiger, like a lion. Do not eat like I don't know, whatever, cow. But even if cow couldn't eat, if cow eats normal, there won't be problems. I mean, you see, when you see those videos with those cows that are so big that grow because of the legumes, because of the beans, they make them eat beans, and they just get so big, so they have to cut their stomach to make them to free them from all that gas. But what I noticed, one thing, for example, there are a lot of people, they do not eat carnivore. They simply eat like whatever, like all the other people, like just, let's say, standard American or European diet, whatever. I mean, or to eat everything, right? Because it's balanced, right? usually their comment is, "Oh, I cannot eat meat because of cows. All those cattle are treated with the antibiotics, or they do not eat, they're not grass-fed or whatever." Okay, I understand if you don't like it. But how come if the cow is not grass-fed, so the cow eats grains or whatever, you eat the same thing? The same thing. It just has a different name, but that's the same thing. And yet you want cow who has prurigas, it has 4 stomach. You want it to eat pure, but you're not eating pure. You're just eating the same. Maybe it's worse, right? How come? I really don't understand that. Because you cannot change cow, but you can change plant very fast. You can modify plant very fast. And you can treat cow, animal, whatever you want, but really it's not easy to modify animal. You need, I don't know how many thousands of years to modify an animal. So they insist, no, I cannot eat. So you do not ask yourself, anytime you eat that Bounty or Mars, Oreo or whatever, or crackers or pasta, you do not ask yourself, what are you eating actually? But in case of the meat, oh no, it should be grass-fed. So insisting on grass-fed, in the case you are not eating well, I think it's nonsense, really. I don't know if if it is logical anyway, but if you don't eat the way you should eat, the way it's species specific, so I don't see the reason why people should insist on grass-fed. So I think they're just the explanation, nonsense excuse for addiction. Another nonsense excuse for addiction. That's what I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's part of the cope, like when they say many things like that.
Another, if I may, let me, another thing that I would like to say, usually people say you cannot talk to people like that because you're not a doctor. You don't have, I don't have degree in nutrition or whatever. First of all, I don't know if there is a science of nutrition. Science is chemistry, biology, mathematics, not is nutrition. It's different. It's consequence of science. But I don't think I need a degree for something that is so normal for everybody on this planet. We have 2 instincts, which is sex and hunger, right? Nutrition. So I don't think I have to go to school to have sex or to eat. I don't think I need a degree to have sex or to eat. So nobody can tell me not to talk about nutrition or do what I want to, because there is no exclusive right on nutrition. So you can have all the degrees that you want to. Okay, that's your thing. But unless it is something very specific, a pathological case, we are all entitled to think and to talk about nutrition if you want to, because it's something inside us, inherent, our nature, our body. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I feel like, many of this reasons is just like, you can't talk about this, and they try to police how you talk about it. Many of it is just like appeal to authority, something so natural as just like eating, like a regular food, meat. This is all natural. We don't need like a degree or anything to talk about this, to share this. So yeah, absolutely agree.
I will make another example. For example, when we were, you're young, it's different, but when I was young, but or even with my parents or grandparents, once mothers used to go to the doctor and ask the doctor how to feed their children. No, because they knew how to feed their children, like every animal. I mean, every sheep, every eagle, every hawk, every ant, every giraffe knows how to feed their children, right? So it's so natural and so normal. Now I have to ask the doctor how to feed my children. It's what authority about? It's about something that's our instinct. So I think we are. I don't. It's not that I think we are limited by our senses, but I do not intend to limit even that basic instincts that I have to force myself to ask somebody how to do it. In that case, means that the sheep, that the cow, the dog, cat, and any bird, any fish is much more clever than I am. And they are. They are probably. I mean, if there is a jellyfish that lives, I don't know, for how many millions of years, or shark, it means that they are much more clever than us. They have biological wisdom, biological intelligence that they spread it to generations. But if I, adult mother, for example, do not know how to feed the children and I have to go to the doctor, it means that something's wrong with me as a human being. And I do not accept it. So in that case, I'm really stupid. And I must admit that all the time I had that in front of my eyes. I had that carnivore in front of my eyes. I knew that it was so simple, and that couldn't be much more simple than to eat something like species specific. So if I eat right, what's typical for my species, that is human being, I won't have problems from the food. That's normal. I mean, how can we have problems if the point is to thrive and to go further with generations? So all those time I had it in front of my eyes and I didn't see. So I was blind. I was stupid. And still I'm a lot of ignorant because of it. But at least I understood. I understood the key. I understood how it's simple. It just, if you want a reference point, there is nature. I mean, just think about it. How about if we lived in nature and that's all?
Yeah, absolutely. Persida, so you've been carnivore since pretty much 2021. I think April 2021 is when you started switching. Did you experience anything like oxalate dumping or maybe a keto flu? I think this is common with carnivore. Mm-hmm.
No keto flu, not oxalate dumpings, but I think my husband did. Not keto flu, but oxalate dumpings. My husband had a big hip inflammation, and I think that we realized that he had some problems with kidneys. And I'm talking about a very high athletic person. He was always in shape. He was always very precise about eating, and actually his volume of eating was always reduced. I eat a lot. I eat 3 times him, but he was always so very precise about it and very, very athletic. His workouts were very hard. He has been hard all the time, but we saw that he had some problems with kidneys. And then I realized that kidney needs more time, much more time than the other organs. And but he started having once in a while, not blood. His kidney was so, how do I say, those kidney sand, right? How do you say? There is no kidney stones. The sand, it's just like the sand. It's dark red sand. Just like small kidney stones, right? It's not painful, but you can see it in urine. And it was once in a while I couldn't find the explanation, and I thought, well, it must be oxalate dumpings. Of course, I cannot get any explanation from the doctors because if I talk about oxalate dumpings, it's something like if I were talking in Chinese or what. Then what I realized that I contacted a friend of mine who is chemist, and then I started. When I started reading, I wanted some explanation from him. I actually took textbooks from school, textbooks in biology, chemistry, and all those things. I came back to it just like I was in school. But then I asked for any explanation. I actually asked him, and I think only now, after all those years from 2021, actually it's 5 years, right? Only now we can see his urine that is more clear. Because if you do blood analysis and urine analysis, you do not see all those things. They say that in urine it's not like that, but I see it with my eyes. And only now we see it much clear, and I think that it needed a lot of time, much more time than the other organs, and he had to be patient, and we are patient, but he feels much better because we realized that was something with kidneys only a posteriori, because before he was a little bit tired once in a while during the day, and we didn't know why. How come? Because he's very active, and how come he felt tired? But then he realized it was probably kidneys. Now he doesn't feel that. He feels okay. So no kidney flu. No, no, no. I feel fantastic. No, no, no kidney flu. No, no. Then I started something that I did when I was kid with my father, going to swim and cold showers. Oh, I like it. I like it. Is hard. It is painful, but it is okay. I go swimming during the winter and I like it.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Oh,
Something I want to try too.
it's great. I really recommend everybody, even grounding. It's fantastic. Grounding is really, really fantastic. We should do it much more. I mean, there are lots of, for example, in Sweden, they do a lot of grounding. And every time I go to Sweden or to Denmark, I'm so happy to go everywhere bare feet without watching at me like something happened, right? Without critics.
Persida, you talked about chocolate, that you used to really like, sweets. And also, I think you talked about chicken breast and rice, like in the beginning, not liking, that food. Were
Genius.
there, yeah. What was your favorite food back then? Was it chocolates?
No, no, it was always meat.
It was always
I
meat.
just
Okay.
had that piece of chocolate like after the lunch, after the dinner, I had to have it. But no, my favorite food was always meat. I always thought I cannot be satiated without meat. Never, never. No, it was always meat. No, no. That's why I say I came back into myself. No, no, no.
I see. So yeah, it made sense that you were, pretty much easy, like transitioning to carnivore, and like once you
No,
put
it
all
was
the pieces
fantastic. It was.
together.
I got into myself. I came back to me, to myself. It was fantastic. It was really back to basics. Yeah, back to me. Yeah.
Yeah. So looking back at your the beginning of your carnivore journey, did you made any mistakes, like switching to this diet and then it became lifestyle? What and how did you like learn from them?
No, I don't think I made mistakes. Only the beginning, actually, I ate a little bit of vegetables. Oh, I don't like, the Americans usually say veggies. Oh, I hate it. I don't like it. So it's so veggies. No, that vegetables. I never liked vegetables. So, but I thought that I had to introduce vegetables because of those fibers. And I noticed something, for example, that I got, for the first time I noticed bloating, but I said, I don't know why. Then I got up one morning and I thought, oh no, I don't want vegetables anymore. I don't feel like good. I don't feel good. I don't know what. I don't feel like eating it, so I cut it. That was the only not mistake. I thought, yeah, I thought that I needed it. It was so the gradual transition that it was needed, those fibers. Then I realized I don't know why should I need it. If Probably those vegetables that I buy in the supermarket, that we buy in the supermarket, are not the same that we can find in the around us. For example, the place where I live is all around the house is green. It's very nice in the middle of nature. So I usually say to people, so if you think that you need to eat all those vegetables, just come here, do the camping, 2 weeks. We are here near, don't worry, we are here. I won't give you even water. So find the water by yourself and find the food by yourself. So if you want to eat all that grass, like sheep, even sheep do not eat all of the grass. They select they're very selective. So if you can survive for 2 or 3 weeks, okay, I'll give you, you'll win something, but it's impossible. So I realized that it's even that vegetables is plastic. To me, it's all banned, all labeled plastic.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Yeah, it's like to me, it's like yeah, it doesn't even make sense to me anymore. Um, Rosita, so what does a typical day or week of eating look like for you now? Do you pretty much keep it consistent, or do you sometimes switch things up? Maybe you can walk me through, what you usually eat now?
Now, I eat usually once a day, but lately two times a day. I mean, I eat whenever I want to eat. I personally, I don't like eating in the evening. I never liked. I mean, when it's dark, for example, I don't like eating. I don't know why. But my husband does, for example. He even eats 3 times a day sometimes. But I usually eat every time that I start eating at least 50% of my meal is raw meat and raw fat. I like raw fat very much. Beef and sheep raw fat, oh, I don't like it. Only thing that I put on is a little bit salt. And then I can have a grilled meat or cooked in fat, and that's all. But I prefer raw meat. Actually, I like the taste of it, and I feel okay. But let's say at least half, 50% of that is raw meat. That's all. The only thing that I do is to combine. One day, for example, just because of, I don't know, whatever, just that's the only change that I do. One day I eat sheep, one day I eat beef. Because I think, wait a minute, if I were in nature, I couldn't find all the time bisons or sheep. I mean, whenever they come, so I do combine in that way, and that's all. That's all. As far as eggs, for example, I like them very much. I like sunny side eggs, but I'm not satisfied a lot. I need, people say, oh, I eat 4 or 5 eggs a day. No, for me, it's just, when I was a kid, I used to eat, when I was a kid, for example, first year of my life, I ate 10 eggs a day. So now I need a lot of more. So I don't feel like cracking all those legs and feeling it just simply, I don't know, although I like it. My husband eats a lot of more eggs than myself at this point. And the other thing is fish. I'm not very fond of fish. I don't feel the same just as I eat beef or sheep. Sheep is perfect. If I have to do, for example, a scale, it would be sheep number 1, beef type number 1 or second one. Okay. And then eggs and a fish at the end, because I'm not very fond of it. Every time I eat fish, I'm not satisfied. I'm not satiated. And somehow, I don't know why, it feels a little bit more heavy than meat, at least for myself. I don't feel like it, but once in a while I eat it, yeah. If it happens, I don't force that. And that's all. Actually, the more than refrigerator, I prefer freezer, because we have things in freezer. We don't have almost anything in refrigerator except butter. I have clarified butter, and I want to underline those things. For example, I usually see on American videos that Americans usually talk about butter without mentioning too much clarified butter. But I think maybe it's good to point out, if you want to eat butter, better to concentrate on clarified butter. There is no lactose in it. But they say, oh, okay, you have casein, for example. Yeah, but casein you have also in the meat. I don't think that the point is, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but maybe the casein could be problem if there is a sugar. If there is no sugar, I don't think the casein is problem. Otherwise, we should have pains or inflammation even from meat. So I don't think it's so. So clarified butter once in a while, which I find it very comfortable. If I want to eat something just like that, I take butter, I put salt on it, and then I eat it. But that's all. It's the difference is, what piece of meat shall I eat? That's the difference. What part of the body of the animal, and that's all. And I really feel like going to hunting. I would like to go hunting, but I cannot go hunting because it's forbidden here. But I would like to go hunting. I feel like going hunting. I would like to have that occasion to do it. But I really think it's something ancestral. It seems like something walk deep inside of me, that I feel connected with the generations before me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was the keyword, ancestral. Yeah. Um, Persida, what is the hardest thing about being carnivore for you? Like for me, some examples would be social gatherings with family and friends who are not carnivore, right? And then the travel, going to scout places that might have some carnivore options, or and the cravings in the beginning. It took me like a year to get it out of my system, I guess also like skepticism from friends and family. But what about for you? Is there anything hard about being carnivore?
No, I those cravings, as I already mentioned at the beginning, it just stopped after 72 hours. It was great. No, no cravings anymore. Never had cravings anymore. Although I had a really hard addiction, so I could not stop in front of the chocolate. That was such a strong addiction. As far as the social gatherings, I am very explicit, very clear about those things. If I were a vegetarian or vegan, they would respect it, right? So they cannot tell me anything. So if you want to go out together, it means there must be a place where I can find meat. If there is no meat, I don't care. And I'm very explicit about it. At the beginning, some of them started laughing, started criticizing. The second time, they were quiet. The third time, they started asking questions. And at the beginning, they told, oh, that was your theory, my theory. What theory? I didn't invent biology. Thank you very much for that thing. But it's not my theory. It's biology, biochemistry. And as far as traveling, I let's say that I use that moment to fast. Actually, usually I do not travel. I do not go to long journeys, just for 2 or 3 days for work, and that's all. If I had to stay somewhere 3 days, I do not eat. So for me, it's fasting. I could, for example, buy clarified butter and eat it. That's all. Let's call it butter facing. If not, that's okay. For example, last time when I went to Venice, colleagues of mine wanted to go there on their treat. I said, wait a minute. I don't want to lose money and time. And that is to say time and money, because time is money, right? I don't want to lose it on sitting in a restaurant, eating maybe that I don't like it. I don't want others to make the meal for me. I'm making myself others, just like the animals do. So I don't want them to make it for me. So I'm going around the Venice, and you stay here, talk, eat, whatever you want. We'll see later. We'll see each other later. We'll see when I come back. So now I use that time for fasting, because otherwise I don't feel like fasting anymore. I feel like eating. That's all. But no. I'm not. I'm not afraid of speaking that loud. My point of view, my position, because I don't force others to eat in a certain way. So I don't want to be forced to eat in a certain way, just to make pleasure to others, because I don't ask them to make pleasure to me when they eat, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's very well said, Persida.
Sorry. For example, when you see, I always have to, for example, a lion or tiger. When a lion eats or a tiger, he doesn't want anybody around him, right? So I don't want others to. They can criticize whatever. First I eat, and then we can talk after that.
Yeah, that's very funny. Persida, so if you had to describe the impact of carnivore in your life, what one word would you describe it, and tell me why?
One word, the impact, or how should how should I call the impact on my life, right?
Correct. Yeah. Correct.
Freedom. That's the word, freedom. I feel free. No addiction, feel free completely. It's me.
That's
Complete
awesome.
freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually the word I would choose also. It's like very freeing. So yeah.
I feel free. I really don't. I really, as I already mentioned, I don't know what they are talking about, all those things. I really don't care. I feel free.
Persida, so knowing what you know now about nutrition and the lifestyle, if you can give an advice to someone who maybe are going on a similar issue that you've had, or maybe they have a chronic pain and they want to start, this carnivore because they've seen so much improvement, like with you, and you're looking pretty in good shape, but they're extremely skeptical about, the whole meat and the whole lifestyle itself. They think they're going to get a heart disease or some kind of like heart failure. They have no clue, right? What would you tell them?
I would tell them a couple of things, those that I tell also the people that come into the gym. First, the sooner the better. It's now that you are earning your years now from with your life. And the people are afraid of what? I always ask them, have you been eating a lot of meat since now, until now? No. So if not, so how can you be afraid? And so until now, you've been eating standard diet, right? And you have problems. So think about it. And the other thing is that I usually say is we don't go hunting now. We have our food by paying for food, right? So if I have to pay for food, why should I pay for the food that harms me, that makes me having problems, health problems? So if I have to pay to feel bad, I mean, I find it really stupid. So if I have to pay, and I have to pay for the food, that means that I'll buy something that good makes good to me, right? Not bad. Who are those people that are selling industrial products like nutritional products like food? They have their marketing interests, okay, but I don't feel interested in paying even a cent for it. So if they pay me, even if they paid me, I wouldn't eat. Maybe, only maybe, if they offered me, but they will never offer me, for example, $1 million a day, then I'll risk that day. But it won't happen. It won't happen, of course. But so they do not pay me. I do pay them for what? For feeling bad. I find it stupid. So I always say, even those young mothers that come to gym, if you should nurture your kid. Your kids should be nurtured. They should eat something that is highly precious, biological available, not stupid poison plastic that you don't know. I always ask them, what are you eating? Do you know how to explain what are you eating? Well, I don't know. It's a muffin. Okay, what's muffin? Well, it's a muffin. Okay, what's inside? But they don't even know what's inside the muffin. So you don't know what you are eating. Can you imagine? I always am very direct, very expressive, very explicit. I said, so it means that any animal, even if we consider the stupidest one, we usually think that we are much more clever than the animals. So they know what to eat, because every animal is very selective, but you don't know what you eat and you pay for it. And what I make them notice something is the price of the things. For example, if you buy a chewing gum, let's say it's something like €2. I don't know. Never mind, €2, right? A packet of chewing gum. But I always insist on why don't you watch how much is per kilo? So it's very expensive. For example, it's €60, €50 per kilo. So you can buy a quarter of sheep for a chewing gum, which is plastic. It's stupid. And then I always then I start making photos. If I want, I don't go to supermarket anymore. But if I go, I really do start making photos of the price for the kilo, and it's very high. And then I said, start watching it. And if you are afraid, what are you afraid of? Oh, they say that the meat is not okay. It's harmful. Who says? Tell me the name. Who? The name, last name. They say. Who says so? How come? So, and then I said, so what your grandparents said? For example, my grandfather, when he came in the morning, he wanted to eat the sausage from the evening before and the eggs from the evening before. So they were mad? No, they died at 95 and then 100, for example. My generation dies maximum at 60, 65. After my generation, probably they won't arrive even to 60. So I spend a lot of time talking to people. I do understand that at the first impact, they cannot accept it. It's so shocking. But then, step by step, most of them start realizing, especially if they have problems, and they have problems, they all do have problems. It's simply that they think that those problems are not the consequence of the nutrition. They think it's, let me say 3 magic words: genetics, idiopathics, asymptomatic. I always say, well, of course it's genetics. We all do have a mother and a father, right? So it is genetic, but that doesn't mean that it is that its consequence is not the nutrition. Genetics means that they probably transfer to you the type of eating stupid. So, for example, if we see in Mexico, if they all have diabetes, and 100% of them have diabetes, young, old, thin, or fat, they all have diabetes. It means that they die. I mean, if you make eating the same thing, a Mexican guy, a Norwegian guy, or Chinese guy, they probably have diabetes, all of them. I mean, they should be much clearer. And I want to point out something. Umberto Eco, which was a great philosopher and great writer, great author, says something very simple but so logical. We should call things with their names precisely. Only if we call them with their names, there are no problems. We'll know how to resolve problems if there are, in case that. So if a person is fat, if I'm fat, means I call myself fat. I don't call myself overweight, because I can even be muscular and say overweight comparing to the standard physique without training. If I'm fat, it means that fat. If I have problems, it means that I'll talk about problems or not. Then I mean, at least I don't want to lie to myself, because I always say people when they tell me, oh yeah, I changed the diet, but I don't see the changes. So I always tell them, you can lie to yourself. Do not lie to me, because I don't earn anything from it, and you don't earn either. So there's no point in lying to oneself. We should be honest, first of all, with ourselves. If we are honest with ourselves, 50% of the problem is solved. Then we can start resolving problems if we feel like having problems. But I repeat, most people usually want the external explanation for a problem, and not to see that the problem is inside us. There is an author, a writer, that once said, my inner universe is much bigger than the outer universe. That's right. That's right. We should see inside what we hear, what we have. We should be honest to ourselves, and only that we can start thinking about getting better.
This is very well said, Persida. Yeah, I actually like that quote. Yeah, if you can give me the author's name, my inner universe is bigger than the outer universe. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if he's Borislav Pekic. I don't know if you know. I think there is something in English published, not very much, but it's a great author. He almost got Nobel, but he was really extraordinary, and it is so. It is. I mean, everything is expressed in. I mean, I always say, I can do whatever I want. We are limited by our senses, but I don't want to be limited but stupid approach. I don't want it. I want to be more closer to nature as I can do. I understand that we live in comfortable houses and we have cars and everything else, but at least I should try not to get further from the nature. I should be closer. And I don't know what can happen. I can die even in an hour after this interview. I mean, I don't know what God has for me, what plans he has for me, or for every one of us. But what I know is what I can do, and I can do that. I simply, if the basis, if the basis of all our lives is nutrition, and it is, metabolism is basis in everything. It means that I should eat the way that God made us. So you can call it nature, whatever we can call it, never mind. I call it God, but okay. So I don't want, what am I looking for what? You know, my mother-in-law used to say, people want the grass that did not grow up yet. I mean, people want something, I don't know what one. So if you don't want to look straight in your problem, in your nutrition, or if you don't, you're right, you are entitled to think, okay, I don't want to, I don't feel like, I don't care. Okay, we are all entitled to not care about. So why do you go to the doctor? What do you expect from doctor? What do you expect? Miracles? No. So you'll get what you want. You'll get the solution, medical solution to just to mask your symptoms, but not to get to go to your, it cannot go to your cause, to the cause of the problem. It's normal. For chronic problems, I don't think that the doctors can do much. I think for acute, like something you break your legs, or you have an accident or whatever, that's different. But for chronic problems, if the cause of my problem, chronic problem is in myself, it means that I'm supposed to solve it. So whatever the help comes from doctor, okay, but I cannot have the illusions if I do not see straight in the cause, if I do not open my eyes, if I am not honest with myself, if I don't see clear, I cannot expect a lot from the doctors or from the system. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Persida, my last question to you is your future outlook. How do you see Carnivore in the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see it like being in a good light, in a bad light, meaning we'll probably see some censorship in the media, maybe false information about it, maybe the meat prices are going to skyrocket. At the same time, the good light could be more people want to learn about it, more people want to hear about it because they see a lot of healing. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, probably there is censorship of the media. I mean, I think that all the industries know that they can count on 80% of people, but they want to count on 80% of the 20% of people that they cannot count on. So they will be very probably they will have and they have aggressive propaganda, aggressive marketing. At the same time. That's the how they say double the knife with a
double-edged sword, right?
Double-edged sword, yeah, that's right. Because okay, they are media, but that same media, that same cellular phones or internet can help us get more information about us. And I realized actually that in very short time, I saw the people in the gym, the people starting interesting themselves. And it's always a tam-tam. Probably there will be more restrictions. Probably they want to channel people I don't think they can forbid. They can forbid something. I don't think it could be possible, but it's channeling people. So you have no more choice a lot, right? Or the price probably will get bigger. I don't know. I suppose so. But I don't think we should think about 5 or 10 years because we do not know. Things change very, very rapidly, and even usually in the way we do not expect it. We see on a geopolitical level that things are probably something we do not expect that something happens. I think what we can do is here and now. So here and now we should start earning our future. If we the more we are conscious about ourselves, about what we are supposed to eat, that every tribe is conscious, but we who live in cities or in we are highly civilized people, then we are not conscious about that. But we should once again in the history of the civilization, we should become conscious about what are we supposed to eat, because it really influences every level, of course, even the brain, everything, our cognition, our way of thinking. Then we'll know what to do. We do not know now, but we'll know in that moment what to do. And we do whatever we can do, because we can do only what we can do at this moment and now, and that is to start eating the way we are made, the way we are. It's planned for us.
Yeah, this is excellent, Persida. I do agree. I feel like I have that urge to like pretty much act now, because this is pretty much the moment is what we are capable of doing. Yeah, I think it's better to act now. Yeah. Persida, if people want to reach out or connect, where's the best place to reach you?
You mean, I don't have social things now. I have mail and Telegram. Well, there's my name. I think I'm the only one on Telegram with that name. I think it's Persida. Well, yeah, that's my account, Persida. Or I teach at the University of Pescara, and they find my mail with that Persida Lazarevich, or the other one, the Gmail Lazarevich, or with Lazarevich.persida at gmail.com.
Awesome. I'm going to make sure to post this all in the description so people can reach you. Persida, thank you so much again for joining me
Thank you,
today.
Joseph. You are very kind. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I hope it helps. Okay.
I really enjoyed hearing your story and learning about
Me
your carnivore journey. Thank you again for sharing.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.